And so I was brewing for a long time, was a brewmaster, and then out of my interactions with all the brewers in the state, I went to a meeting of brewers and distillers and NC State who was supporting all the farmers to figure out new crops, new alternative ways to grow something and develop a new income stream. And so everybody was saying, well, we should grow more barley here because we can grow it. They had varieties that seemed to work, and the brewers were okay. We want to buy it, and so were the distillers. And the question was, like, who's doing the middle piece, right? Without this malting, so the facility where we are, without this step, you can't make beer. It's just not possible. You can't use raw barley and brew with it. And so at that moment, my wife and I, we were there together. She was like, hey, you went to school for this in Germany, right? I mean, you know enough to figure out how this could be a business. And so we had the epiphany that day and basically went for it. And and so here we are. It took 6 years to find the money, find the equipment, find a home for this, and then install everything and get started up. And in that process early on is where Tim and I met, Tim Pools from Perry Farms. And that was a whole nother piece, right? So there was us, me getting started, switching over into the malting industry, but then also finding farmers, finding folks to grow, because around here it's a specialty crop really. If you don't ask for it, there's no market, so nobody will grow it. So it's a unique, totally new field that we're bringing to the table for the farmers. So the way this works is that we have an in-stream of 3 farmers. So he's one of 3. And so all the wheat that we malt, that brewers use in wheat beers and often in saisons and other types of beer, where wheat gets added on top of barley, that all comes from him. So year-round we get 1 wheat source. They do an excellent job in growing that, so we don't even need to, in that sense, shop around. And on the barley, it's more mixed. So we get some from him. We get some from out east on the coast, and then I have a 3rd farm in Virginia to kind of regionally spread it out because there's weather events, right, more and more, and so you kind of need to hatch along with the farmers, hatch your bets a little bit better, and so we're a little bit spread out. As we started out, we sourced grain from all over, and then because not everything was grown locally, I had to develop that connections with the farmers. And last year we got over 60%. This year it was 100%. So the 2018 harvest, we still have barley from that harvest, and the new harvest just came in. So it looks like we're going to make the whole year round with just barley within 100 miles, basically. Malting is not easy when it comes to the details, but process-wise it is fairly simple. So the first thing we look at are these 2 tanks that are steep vessels, and so the grain comes in at 10–12% moisture, and we steep it in here. You soak it in water essentially, and within a couple of hours it picks up over 30%. And so at 35% or so, we transfer it into these malting boxes, and in those boxes it stays for a good week. It germinates, all the starches turn into sugars and proteins, and then we dry it out and it comes back out, and then it gets bagged on this little bagging station. The next phase would mean really having impact for a lot of farmers, because the input is really, I think, what's attractive to the state, right? I mean, making malt in that sense, not that anybody can do it, but it's not like there isn't enough malt around, but reshaping it to be in the state, and then supplying all the brewers is sort of key. But we sell it all around the state. So we have short ways out on the coast, a couple of breweries in Rocky Mount, Mother Earth in Kinston is buying, both the brewery and the distillery. So, and then this goes all the way to Charlotte. So we have a couple in Charlotte and Asheville, and then out the other way. So we have 2 actually, which is really neat, that are exclusively buying from us. 2 breweries. So one is Little Brother, and the other one is Wooden Robot in Charlotte. And they're both buying only from us. So we do basic malts, and then we have a roaster which makes all kinds of gradations of color, and so you can make color and flavor with everything we offer to any style that you need to make. And so some people say, okay, we're committing to this all the way, which is great. And so the 2 of them who are really all in both won gold medals last year. So one for a German wheat style, which is not an easy category, and Tim's wheat is in it, right? Yeah. So that's kind of wild. And so he won gold at the JBF last year, and then One Robot as well. They won gold for one of their sour beers. And for us, it's awesome because we know it's like we played hopefully a huge part in this, right? And making the connection for them. And yeah, they just show that that just because it's local doesn't necessarily mean it's not as good as what the big maltsters do, essentially. Yeah. That's sort of our big success really, because part of the startup was to make the best malt we can make, and then as local as possible, and it turned out it's totally possible to make.